Hi everyone, welcome to another one of my videos. In this one I wanted to talk about, I think, one that a lot of XJWs can relate to, just how much I felt like crap as a Jehovah's Witness. We're supposed to be God's happiest people on earth. Yeah, right. you know, as I really reflect on some days, on all the years that I was Jehovah's Witness, I just realize more and more just how unhappy that I really was during my time as a Jehovah's Witness. Like they are a perfect example of they're happy because the governing body says they're happy, but they don't realize how fake and unauthentic it all really is. Because you would think finding the truth and the answers to all of life's most important questions, and the promise of living forever on a paradise earth in this wicked world, dying off Satan's evil system, you would think that would give most people a reason to have a permanent smile on their face and joy in their life. But as I've come to know, and a lot of other ex-witnesses have come to learn, this is not the case with Jehovah's Witnesses. Once somebody is baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, you're put into your hamster wheel. and then they add that little carrot that they dangle in front of you that always seems to be just out of reach. Just no matter how much effort and time and input, this saps all your energy, but just no matter how much you push yourself, you just never feel good enough. You can never seem to get that carrot, like even in my early years after my baptism, I quickly felt all the pressure to, conform, to fit, to obey, to fit into their molds. And it was more subtle at first, but I gradually started waking up to it more, that to never question them either. Like all the pressure, like how we were supposed to attend all the meetings and conventions and the assemblies, even if it meant quitting our jobs, or no matter how far away it was. Like you always had to, like, there was only a couple years that the convention was actually held in the city that I live in. Every other year I had to make sure I arranged rides. And I can actually say you'd be surprised how many of the brothers and sisters turned me down, saying they didn't have room, or how many room in their car, or how many would just, oh, sorry, we're attending another convention. Like no holidays, no friends outside the Jehovah's Witnesses, a very strict dress code. You can't even wear denim or have pink or purple hair, even what hairstyles that I could have. It's like you had to always dress like you're at a meeting. Although whenever I was not at a meeting or convention or assembly or out in service, I always had pants on. You know, they told us, they would always tell us, you know what, you're imperfect. You're imperfect. It's just a part of our imperfect nature, but yet there was this push. But yet there was this strong push to actually be perfect. You know, that fear of slipping up that was held over our heads, you know, like, you're imperfect, but don't you dare slip up or displease Jehovah, or you might not make it into the new world. You know, it's like they put us on a like tightrope to be a perfect JW. You know, like I still felt, you know, as a witness, I still felt lonely. I still felt depressed. And I can honestly say hopeless, because you're always worrying about whether or not you're good enough to make it into the new system. You know, whether you're doing enough for the organization. Like, one of the pressures that I think I started to resent very early on was just to do more, like move to Bethel or a foreign country. It's not that I never wanted to do any of that kind of stuff, period. It's just I never really developed that really strong passion to do that kind of thing, yet I was made to feel bad for not wanting to do that. And that was another thing. Like, if you don't want to be a pioneer or like a super goody two-shoe witness, you're made to feel bad for. It's crazy. It was crazy. You know, like, I still felt like a social outcast in my congregation. I didn't have a lot of friends. I did have more friends than before I became a witness. But then later on, I learned that these were, in fact, fake friends and not real friendships, and I was still often left out of gatherings and events and, like, parties, you know, unless they were selling something. But, you know, like, one of the pressures I think I dreaded the most with, like, a lot of former Jehovah's Witnesses, that I think was the push to be out in service, to spread the good news, to make disciples, or in other words, to convert people. You know, I'd say a good question a Jehovah's Witness should ask themselves is, am I really preaching to save lives and from an unconditional love because I really care about people? Or am I really just going out in service because this is something that I have to do because I don't want to be blood guilty and die at Armageddon? And just so you know, over the years, I always felt more like there was a gun being pointed at my head, like a sharp stick behind me, just pushing me forward and to stay in line. You know, always being drilled and grilled at the meetings. You know, like, basically stay loyal to the organization and get my butt out in service. You know, not to mention the heavy loads of studying and all the for the meetings and all the literature that we had to read each week, like week after week. and just, keep your fake smile on to help the Jehovah's Witnesses show the world that they're a happy people, to put living on hold in the present right now because of the future that we're waiting for the end of this system and the new world. But what that ends up doing is making our current lives dull, plain, boring, and often poor quality. Like very poor quality. Because we're waiting for an end that just never seems to come. But like a commuter who waits and waits and waits for their bus or train, and then finally just gives up or gets fed up, and finally calls customer service or the company to find out where their bus or train is and why it's late and why it hasn't come yet. Well, similarly to that, I finally started to wake up, ask questions, like, what's going on here? How come this never really, I'm waiting for something that it never seems to come. And there's things adding up. This just doesn't feel right anymore. So I finally just changed my route. And now I'm finally on the road to real answers. And I can now say that I definitely wear a much more genuine smile. For sure. So you know what? I think I think that's a big thing for a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, and a lot who might currently still be in. They might say they're happy, but I think we know that a lot of them are just saying that. They're really not deep down. They just don't feel free or open to admit that. And that's where you really got to start to take a much deeper look at yourself and what you're involved in. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say for this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed my video. I hope you guys all have a good week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.